So to start for this pattern, you need your bust, your shoulder to bust, your shoulder to waist, and your shoulder to blouse length. So what I will do is to mark my shoulder divided by 2, and I'll come down by 1 inch. So after that, I'm going to connect a basic neckline of 3 inches by 1. We are drafting the back pattern first, right? And I'm going to go ahead to connect. So from this point, I'm going to go ahead to connect this all the way to this point. Now the next step I'll take is to find my chest line, which is the bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. Please, sorry for the noise at the background, it is actually my neighbors. So now I'll just go ahead to place a ruler and draw a straight line there. I'm going to mark my shoulder divided by 2. My shoulder is 14 inches divided by 2, I have 7. Add extra half inch. So I'll also cross check here if I added the half inch, which I did not. I'll just extend it. Now what I'll do is to go ahead to connect this. After connecting this, I'm going to go ahead to divide this into 2 equal parts, mark half inch here, mark my bust circumference divided by 4 here. Now I'm going to go ahead to connect from here all the way to this half inch and to the other half inch to my bust circumference. Now I'm going to start by marking my dart. For my dart, I'll mark my nipple to nipple divided by 2. My nipple to nipple is 7 inches divided by 2. I have 3.5 inches. So I'll mark this and come down by 4 inches after my waistline. Now I'll go ahead to place my ruler and I will connect, and also connect at the lower part of my pattern. After I'm done marking that, I'll mark half inch here, half inch here. Now come down by 1 inch for my pattern here, and I will connect, and also connect at the other side of my pattern. So I'll just go ahead to connect this dart here and connect this dart here also. So after connecting, I'll start inserting my body measurement. I'm going to mark my bust circumference divided by 4. My bust is 33 divided by 4, I have 8.3. A blazer does not need much sewing allowance, you can use 1 inch. Here I'll mark my waist circumference divided by 4. Whatever you take out, you have to replace it. So this is half inch, giving you 1 inch. I'll replace it, then add my 1 inch. Here I'm going to mark my hip circumference divided by 4, then add my sewing allowance. Now what I'll do is to go ahead to place my ruler and I'm going to connect. After I'm done connecting, I'm going to go ahead to connect to this point. Now I'll go ahead to cut this out, right? If you want to cut out your blazer into 2 pieces, you can go ahead to do that, or if you want to cut it on fold, you can go ahead to do that. So after cutting out my blazer, I'll be slanting it by the side by 1.5 inches because of the picture there. By the side of this blazer, they went up by, let's say, 1 inch, 1.5 or 2 inches by this side. So I'll just go ahead and cut this out. I'll also be using this pattern to cut out my front to make it easier. Now another thing you need to do is to take the measurement at the neckline. So normally a 3 by 1 inch neckline is always 3.5 when you measure it. Now I'll just go ahead to cut this, and we are done drafting the back pattern. After cutting out the back, I'll be going up by 1.5 inches and I will mark. So I'll just go ahead and place my 0.5 inches. I'll go ahead to connect. So I'll just go ahead to cut it out. Now just like I said, I'll be using this to cut out the front pattern. This will help like reducing the stress of going ahead to like draft out another pattern, right? Because what is at the front is what is also at the back. Just like we have a collar and lapel at that of the dress. So now what I will do is I'll go ahead to trace out what I have, make a straight line here to indicate that my pattern will be starting from here. Now I added an addition of 4 inches here, but I won't really use all of that, but I just marked that, right? Now I'm just going to go ahead to trace out this part. Mark my basic neckline of 3 inches here, but the neckline of the front I'll mark 3 by 3 to draw that out. Now I'll go ahead to outline this part of my pattern. So I'll just trace out, mark where I have this by the front pattern, right, that 1.5, and I'll just take this down. So I'll be connecting it later. Now I'll go ahead to mark out my basic neckline of 3 by 3 inches, just like I said, and I'll go ahead to connect. Now let me mark my dart. So this is my bust line, my chest line. So I'll still refer back to this pattern, mark where I have my bust line on this pattern, my waist on this pattern also. Now I'll just go ahead and place and draw out a straight line at this point. So after marking this, I'll start by marking my nipple to nipple divided by 2. My nipple to nipple is 7 inches divided by 2. I have 3.5 inches. Now I'll come down by 4 inches here, just like we did for that of the front back pattern. Now I'm going to go ahead to connect. So this line is out of line, probably it was a mistake. So I'm just going to go ahead to connect. After I'm done connecting, I'm going to mark ½ inch on both sides of this pattern on my waistline. ½ inch here, ½ inch here, come down by 1 inch here, and I'll go ahead to connect and also connect on this side. Now I'll go ahead and extend my darts all the way to the lower part. Now after I'm done doing that, I'll mark like my button allowance in front. So I'll be using like 1 inch for my button allowance, and I'll be marking this all the way to the lower part of my pattern, and I'll place and draw a straight line on that part. So after I'm done drawing this out, I'll just go ahead to extend it. Now I'm going to connect from my waistline. So from this blazer is stopped around the bust, so I'll just go ahead to connect this. Now if you don't want it to be here, you can go up or reduce it. Now I'll just go ahead and connect. So after I'm done marking this, the next step I'm going to take is to mark the neckline. Remember the neckline we measured here, which is 3.5 inches. I'll go ahead to mark it and draw a straight line, right? Now for our collar to sit properly or relax, I'll go in by ½ inch and mark. Then I will readjust my collar this way. Now for the collar, you can use any collar measurement of your choice from 3 inches, 3.5 or 4. So I'm just making use of 3 inches. Now if you're not okay, let me make use of 3.5. So if you're not okay with this, you can go ahead to readjust. Now before going ahead to connect, I'm going to come out by 1.5 inches from here. That's like 2.5 inches extension. Or if you don't want to use this 2 inches, 2.5, you feel it's big, you can use 2 inches. Now I'll slant this back to this point. So after this, I'm going to go ahead to come up from this point, from this line. Now I'll tilt my tape and come up by 1 inch here, and I'll connect it back. After that, I'll now place my ruler this way and I will connect all the way to the upper part. So this is what I have. Now let's work on the lower part of this dress. So there is the button allowance. Here is the button. Now you notice from the waist, coming down from the waist, there's a slant. So from here, I'll just go in, use 1 inch or 1.5. You shouldn't exceed more than that unless you have too much gaping or opening at this part. So I'll just go ahead and slant it this way. Now by this side, remember I've marked this is the 1.5 inches I came up by, and I'll go ahead to connect. So if you don't want to use this 1.5, you can go up by 2 inches. So this is the blazer pattern, and all I'll do now is to go ahead to cut this out. So at this point, if you have any question, go ahead also to ask your question. Now after cutting this, I'll go ahead to cut out the rest of my pattern, and after I'm done cutting, this is what the blazer pattern will be looking like. So if you have any question, please kindly leave your question at the comment section, and if you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead to hit on the subscribe button.